Hey guys, it is time for another episode of Reggie's Expressions. I know you guys have been waiting on bated breath when it comes to um, the. Uh-oh. Let's hope. Let's hope. Waited and bated breath for the episode. Thank you guys. I appreciate it. Yeah. So I hope you listened to all of last episode because it went well. I had fun recording it. And, I promised you guys that I was going to have a part two because I knew that I wasn't going to be able to get into all of it because I had so much stuff that I needed to talk about. So I'm going to get right into it. I'm not going to wait at all. But I left off, telling you guys a little bit about what happened on the family reunion. So my dad was pushing me, my husband was pushing me to reconcile with my sister, and I wasn't really ready to do that, or I didn't really have an idea of what that looked like. Because for me, in times in the past where I've apologized for things or reconciled, it has automatically gone back to the way that it was, and I just didn't feel that that was the case this time. Before I had put conditions on what I would need in order to be able to move on from this, which required an acknowledgement of wrongdoing and all this other stuff. And sometimes people aren't there yet. Their apologies is their apologies. It doesn't always have to be based on what my expectations are, but I did have expectations with what the way I wanted the apology to go. And I just didn't want it to ring fake or ring like, oh, we're here in this space, so let's do it. It's the right moment. And besides, I knew I still had emotions about what was going on between me and my sister. Um, and you guys are gonna have to listen to previous episodes if you want to know what that's about. But you know, um, yeah, it's we haven't talked in over a year, so it was nerve wracking. I also had a therapy appointment at 2 o'clock. So that was at the top of my mind also. And I had a lot of good things that I wanted to talk about too, in terms of the business and all that other stuff. And it was just a lot going on. It was emotional overload, really quick, really fast. So I get a chance to see my sister. She's really the only person that I'm looking for. I see my dad. I see other cousins that are around. I see I make my business like, okay, I'm going to hit them up, hit them up, hit them up. Because I have a large family. My dad was one of 12. And when they say go forth and be fruitful, they did, right? So I knew, I want to make sure I talk to the cousin that I speak to often, and then make sure that I go around to folks that I might not necessarily see all the time, get a chance to go give my condolences to, the family that just recently lost their mother, my grandmother's daughter. So I had kind of a plan of action. And I wanted to kind of get the elephant in the room out of the way. So that was the reason why I went straight to my sister. Initially, she walked away from me, um, which could have easily been on my part. Well, you know what? I tried, but that would have been ego talking. So I gave it a second chance. She walked away again. And then, I said to her that I missed her, which is true. I did. And that, I didn't want to talk, which wasn't 100% true. Because it wasn't that I didn't want to talk. It just was that I didn't want to talk about what we needed to talk about. And it was just because, again, I knew I had emotions about it still. So I wanted to make sure that we had a safe space to be able to, and I guess in turn, I was maybe trying to create that idea that I was open to it. But, the more I thought about it, the more I kind of was like, I don't think I should have that conversation. Like, okay, what is this conversation going to look like? What am I going to say? How do I feel? All these internal things that are happening, and I'm focusing on this, and I want to focus on happiness and all this other stuff. And it was just awkward of sorts, and I was just all over the place. So I instantly had regret after I said it because I felt like I just didn't feel it didn't ring genuine to me. But needless to say, that was the first like bit of acknowledgement that I had, in a long time. The pressure was off, and we just enjoyed the family, or did our best to. Now, my grandmother turned 99, so I want to have a cheering for that. So she turned 99 years old. She is in her 100th year of life. I'm so excited for her. And my grandmother looks great, y'all. My grandmother looks so good. It was so great to see her. She looks like she's thriving still. And it was great that they pulled it together. My grandmother, as I stated, had 12 children. One died in 1984. The second one actually passed away October of 2021. Um, to cancer, unfortunately. So this was a culmination to us dealing with it. And as I said in the previous episode, you can definitely feel her presence missed. So, but it was good to see my grandmother. She was happy to see me. I tell you, boy, they probably were more excited to see my husband than they were me, because there was a moment where I was, conversing and trying to talk to Trina, where my husband and I got separated, and I'm like, where is he? And then I come, he was like, oh, they were calling my name. And I didn't hear any of that because I was in my own head about, the pending conversation that I was going to have with my sister. And I just was like, that didn't even register. And he stuck by my side. We went around, we saw cousins, got my cousin Jackie and Samantha, who's always been there for me. I absolutely love those two girls. So I always make it my business to make sure that I go and see them and support them and hug on them. Gina was there. I got to see my Aunt Red, my Uncle Leonard. Uh, now I'm in the, now Aunt Nita, Aunt Geneva, um, Uncle Sam, Aunt Teresa. I don't know how many names of those. Uncle T, which I still hadn't seen Uncle T in a lot. It has at least been about a good maybe 10 years, that I've actually seen him in the flesh, because he doesn't normally come out to these things. So it was exciting to see him. I got to see Aunt Lois, Aunt Louise. I think that should be all of them. I'm telling y'all, man, I have a huge family, so I'm sorry if I don't remember all of them. And don't get me started into cousins, right? Because it's just, I couldn't tell you everybody's name. I did get a chance to see my nieces, which it was quite the. Um, it did my heart good to see them, and I was really happy to just get a chance to see them face to face. But and then we just kind of went our own separate ways. We were just conversing with people. I think my husband had his own very singular experience, which was absolutely amazing. It definitely shows that we have changed people's minds in our family in terms of what they consider to be gay and all this other stuff. I mean, my husband and I have now been together for 8 years, coming up pretty soon together, married for 6. I know that they acknowledge and they see it, and it was very great. I need to get him in here and have him explain his experience. So let me see if I can. I'm gonna try to see if I can call him real quick. Give me a second. Yeah, this is happening in real time, people. Yes, it is. Yes, it is. I also got to print out some stuff from my home. I got to print out some stuff for. I got to sign into my morning at 10 o'clock, so I need to do that too. This is not working out the way I planned it. Hold on a second. Hey. Talk amongst yourselves, everyone, okay? Thanks so much. Hey Siri, call Lavadish.
I don't see Levities in your contacts. Who would you like to call?
Call Love.
Sorry, I missed that. Who would you like to call?
My husband.
Which husband?
I only got one.
Sorry, I don't have a phone. Who would you like?
Siri don't have my husband's number in here. Oh, there we go. Okay. Hey, I'm recording a podcast real quick, but I want you to tell everybody what your experience was at the family reunion on Saturday.
It was a great experience. I was amazed how much love and how much they all remember me after a few years, and it was so warm to see their faces and smile and calling me by my name and say, come here, give me a hug, give me kisses, give me some love, and it was amazing. It was amazing.
Yeah, I was telling everybody about how, you and I got separated in the very beginning, and I'm like, where is he? Do you have anything that stood out to you at all during other than the welcome?
The love.
Mm-hmm.
The family love each other like I never seen before in my life.
Mm-hmm.
Everybody gathered together. Everybody's like one person.
Mm-hmm.
Everybody say hi. Everybody greet me. Everybody hug me. It's so much. It's overwhelming.
Mm-hmm.
Overwhelming love.
Yeah. So, Carlos wasn't the only white man there either. So, I told him that his cousin finally showed up. There was another non-black person that was there, and obviously we're a black family, so that sticks out. And I kept telling Carlos to go talk to him, and he wouldn't. So he wouldn't go and welcome his people. So, and yeah, it was good. I was glad that I had you there, and I was saying that it was amazing because I think we got a chance to change people's minds about us. You know what I'm saying? What were you gonna say?
So indeed, it's amazing to feel that type of love, like to feel welcome in their space.
Mm-hmm. So, and Carlos wants to move to Albany now. All right, love. Well, I appreciate it. Thank you. I'll be downstairs in a bit. Okay. All right. Love you.
Love you.
All right. Bye. So yeah, I just wanted you guys to get an opportunity to hear, and I hope you guys were able to hear that. I don't know if you guys on the video were able to hear it, but for sure, that means you're gonna have to go listen to the podcast. But he had his own singular experience, and it was good. It definitely took my mind off of whatever else I thought was happening. I felt good. I did feel nervous, and I did have a little bit of a panic throughout the day, but for the most part, it went over well. I got a chance to, see just family members that I hadn't seen in so long. And my dad, that's Jim's daughter. I'm like, Dad, I ain't met, I don't know Jim. At what point in life I don't know him, And I was like, you're going to have to introduce me. He never did introduce me to Jim. So there's that. I'm still trying to figure out who that man is because I have no idea. There was other cousins and stuff. I want to say that they were probably my granddad. He passed away in, I think, in 89. I want to say that it was probably family members from his side of from his side of family, because my grandmother, is the grandfather that I know is not my dad's father. My dad's father passed away at when he was about 4 years old. He had a heart attack of some sort. So that's not the same exact man that I knew as grandfather. So I'm pretty sure it was probably along those lines. And, the crowd was a lot less than what it was the years past, but nonetheless, it was just a celebration. It was good to see my grandmother do her thing. It was great. She did get a chance to say some kind words, but unfortunately, I didn't get a chance to see because of I ended up having a therapy appointment. I told y'all about that. And my therapy appointment was to converse about what the afternoon was and it also, was to let him know about some of the positive things that have been happening. To be honest, y'all, with everything that's going on with the business, I haven't felt this happy in a long, long time. And I'm grateful for it. And I'm trying my best to focus on just enjoying it and, not allowing, negative moments to bring me down. And that was part of what my reasoning for not really wanting to have that conversation with my sister, because I knew that it was going to go to a very personal space. And it was going to become the Hurt Olympics, who's hurt more, kind of thing. And I definitely wasn't there yet. And, it wasn't until I actually sat down and I dug into myself to say, how do you feel about this? Is this a conversation that you're ready to have? What does forgiveness look like to you? What are you going to say? And it just was, I realized that at that point that it was the pressure of my dad and my husband that really kind of got me into the idea of wanting to reconcile. And I haven't really given it that much of a thought behind what the ultimate, what my goal was. So I ended up deciding that day that I didn't want to have the conversation with my sister, and she ended up leaving prior to it being over. I mean, it was about a good 5 hours of us just chilling outside and having fun. It was from 8:30 until about 5, I think it was, and great music. Jaron, which I am going to be interviewing here pretty soon. DJ Jaron, my cousin Jackie's husband, he does the music all the time, and he does an amazing job. So I'm going to have him on the pod. We're going to interview him, because he's been doing this thing for a long, long time. Real nice guy. Like him a lot. My cousin Ivory, it was good to see her. And, I hadn't seen and laid eyes on her for a long time. And, it was good to kind of, just converse with her a little bit. I did actually have a cousin who did, know that me and Carlos had adopted Juan. And she was like, congratulations on your sign. I'm like, what? My signing? Like, notary? Is that what you're talking about? And she said, son. And I was like, oh, yeah. Oh, yeah. And she asked how old he was. And that lets me know that my family members, when I go and I see those numbers under there, when it says like 20 views, 25 views, my family members, they be watching. They be, I don't block any of them at this point. I'm too old to block folks, for, feeling the way they feel. If they don't like my lifestyle, that's fine. But whatever, you ain't got to come visit it. But yeah, they definitely watched, because a lot of them knew Carlos. They were calling him over as if they had had an opportunity to meet him. A lot of them hadn't, just through passing, and they felt like they knew him. So it was good. It was real good to to see that they're acknowledging, and also seeing their ideas change about what gay marriage is. And it was very it did my heart good. It did my heart good, because being a part of a Black family and being queer, gay, or whatever you identify, a lot of times, especially when you have uber religious family members, they definitely use the key of ostracizing you, for being an abomination and all this other stuff. And just people disowning their kids that they birth and have, because they don't understand their lifestyle. And it was, my family definitely did do that. A few of them did. I'm not gonna say all of them. A few of them did, and that was definitely hurtful, because I felt like family is an important thing to have, and I was really going through that time, trying to find acceptance from somebody, and to have my family not necessarily disown me, but not really speak to me in that way was very hurtful, which is why I believe that you can choose your own family. You know what I'm saying? So it was lonely for a number of years early on into my sexuality. And, as I got older, the more I wanted to be open about it. And for the longest, I didn't have a relationship with anybody. And that was because I felt like I didn't want to flaunt it in their face. And then when I found Carlos and we fell in love, it didn't matter to me. I didn't care at that point what people thought, because I loved him. And that's all that mattered. And, you get the stares and the concerns and the friend, quote unquote, people misnomering him. And that actually did happen. I don't remember who it was. That was who said it, but it was, oh, your friend. I'm like, oh no, my husband. He's my husband. And I make a conscious effort to make sure that I correct it right then and there. But it wasn't anybody that was like super important. But for me at this point, it's like marriage is hard, and I earn my stripes. You know what I'm saying? So at the end of the day, I'm not going to trivialize who he is to me just because you can't understand or don't want to understand. Because you know damn well that ain't my friend. He ain't been my friend in years. He's been my lover, my confidant, my travel buddy, my situation, whatever you want to call it. He's been all of those things. So let's not act like we don't know what's going on. So, but I corrected them right then. My grandmother was excited to see him. I consciously made the decision to kind of not necessarily distance myself, but I did have a little bit of a guard up because again, I'm still sensitive about the idea of people with false expectations coming up saying, I love you and let's keep in touch. I just didn't want that. I wasn't feeling that. So it was good for me to kind of, just be more of an observant. I didn't take a lot of pictures other than the ones that some of you guys saw on my social media. I just wanted to be aware of it, and just aware of what was going on and being able to take advantage of the ambiance and just seeing Black excellence at its greatness. Shout out to Harold. It was good to have a conversation with him. He's growing up like he's grown up so much since the last time I saw him. So shout out to him. Delisa, I didn't get a chance to see you. I wanted to share my condolences for grandmother and my aunt. But I know you were in and out because you had to go to work. I wanted to congratulate you on your husband too, because I know you just recently got married. It was good to see Jennifer, Warren, who else? Janice, the sisters of Janice, because I can't remember all of their names, because she has a lot of sisters. Darius. Oh my God. I'm telling y'all, I got a huge family. I'm pretty sure it was probably maybe 50, 60 people that were out there at any given time. And my family did the colors and all that other stuff. My dad was blue. He was purple a couple years ago, but I just found out that he did not want purple. I was quite shocked. I was like, oh, okay, I thought you chose that. He was like, y'all chose. I was like, I didn't. Trini told me purple, and I thought that's what you wanted. So that's why I got that shirt color, because I bought the shirts a few years ago. But yeah, it was blue. We had light pink. We had red. We had yellow. We had black. Anthony, Angela, Wanda. It was good to see all of you guys. Just in passing. April, I didn't get a chance to speak with you. I wanted to. Melissa, it was good to see you. And you're looking good as ever. And yeah, I also got a chance to go to the Flint River. That's where we put my mom's ashes. So I was really happy about that. And this brings me to the point of this entire podcast. At the tail end of the gathering, my uncle, I'm not going to name him, and family members know, they may know who he is. I'm not going to name him though. And there was another family member, my aunt, who very early on when me and my husband got married, it was actually a couple of years after we got married, they stated that they, what their disapproval was, and, on my Facebook, and, said that they could not support or stand behind my relationship with him. And, I ended up blocking them. And for a number of years, I didn't really talk with them at all. I didn't not necessarily acknowledge them. I think I was cordial, but I didn't really go out of my way to speak to them. And, it was probably the latter part of last year, or maybe it was like mid last year sometime. It was a little bit before my aunt passed away. I had an epiphany, not necessarily an epiphany, because it didn't come to me and like, oh, I feel this way. It had been something I've been feeling for a while, but I decided to, tell them that, Although some of you guys, might not agree with where I'm at, I'm here. I'm not going anywhere. I'm standing firm on where I am. And I love my husband. We've been together for X amount of years, and I would love for y'all to love me for that. And a couple of them chimed in, and quite a few of them didn't. But the two vocal people, I think, knew what it was and who I was more or less speaking to. And I think that I don't remember if either one of them said anything regarding the comment, but I said my piece and I got it off of my chest, and I felt better. And the people that chimed in said, we love you regardless. It doesn't matter to me. I don't care who who you love is who you love, and we love you still. You got the acceptance, and it was a very very good feeling. So seeing that uncle, at the tail end of it, he came, he saw me, and he actually spoke earlier on, and I kind of distanced myself from him a little bit. And, I didn't go back around for a second round to talk with him, because I kind of was like, I want to conserve my energy. And my aunt, I saw her, but I could see her sentiment. We spoke in passing, but I could definitely tell that things had changed for her. I didn't really get an opportunity to converse with her that much, so I didn't really say much to her, but I could tell. I felt the energy in which, where it was a very, reconciliatory energy. So she didn't have to say it. But this uncle, came to me and was like, hey, I know I said some things a few years ago that might have made you, feel some type of way. And I just want to tell you, you can't change me. I can't change you. But that's not the point. The point really is that, I don't have a heaven or hell to put anybody in. And I'm not here to judge about, who you love. And I just want you to know that I support you, and that, I'm just really happy that you're living your life, kind of. And I'm paraphrasing. I can't, remember specifically, but I remember getting extremely emotional about it, because it wasn't like I was going over to him and I was expecting him to have that conversation or say that to me. So it made me kind of well up a bit and, open my eyes, and I was like, I just want to tell you, thank you for saying that. I didn't know I needed to hear that, and it was good to hear, and I'm grateful that you said it. And I'm just grateful that, you spoke that, because, for me, I was just going to continue to just keep my distance from him, because I don't want to force anything down anybody's throat at this point. You know what I'm saying? I'm 41 years old. I'm over trying to convince people. Like, at this point, it's like, it's not even an alternative anymore. It's like people, people deal with this. They, the fact that folks are still losing families is stupid. Like, it's like, come on, man. Like, what are we doing? And I was really ready to keep my distance, but, he came in, he apologized, of sorts. He didn't necessarily directly say, I'm sorry, but he said that he's kind of evolved a little bit. And, he acknowledged, that what he said could have hurt me, and that he was really just standing on that. So it was great. It was just amazing to hear. So shout out to that uncle for doing that. I appreciate it. And, I don't know what's going to happen with our relationship moving forward, but I'm grateful that we did get a chance to at least share that moment. Same thing with my sister. We didn't have that big, elephant in the room conversation, but, at least we're talking. And at some point, I, may be open. I just need a little bit more distance between that. And, distance between, I need a little bit more distance to process, but for me, my dad and I did have a conversation, and there was some inconsistencies that came up with the story again. And I realized that I still did have, feelings about it. And I was glad that I didn't make that decision. So when my sister, was like, hey, what time are you leaving? And she wanted to talk. I was very, I didn't want to lead her on and, have her thinking that, yeah, we were going to have this conversation. I just wanted to let her know that I'm glad that the door is open. At some point, we'll have that conversation, and I have to figure out what it looks like for us to move on. Because honestly and truly, y'all, I'm not in the business of playing. Like I don't want it to go back to the way that it is. Not because I want to feel, wounded and hurt. It's just that there's no way it can. You know what I'm saying? I just don't see us being able to reconcile to the point where we get back to the way that we are. We've done that. We've done that in the past. And to be honest, it's not, I think it was just for the sake of us trying to, do what we thought was necessary in order for our relationship to move forward. Forgiving someone doesn't necessarily mean that it has to go back to the way that it was. It doesn't. We don't have to do that. You know what I'm saying? And I'm open to that idea, that forgiveness doesn't necessarily mean that we'd be on the phone for hours like we were before. But what I do want to be able to do is have a conversation with her about, hey, I thought about mama today. When I talk about my mother, and you guys hear my spiel at the very end, when I talk about what kind of person my mama is, I'm introducing her to you guys every time. Me and my sister and my siblings, we know what my mom was like. You know what I'm saying? So I want to be able to have moments where I'm remembering her, not talking about her essence. You know what I'm saying? And it's very important for me to have that. Even though I have my relationship with my mom and I talk to her, quite often, and I thank God, for, I really honestly and truly believe that my mom is one of my angels that are watching over me. But at the end of the day, I'm not really trying to, I want to be able to remember my mom and remember my mom for the things that she did to us and how she was, not remembering what she was like and trying to explain that to people, So I just want to be able to have that open door policy to where we can converse about our sadness about her not being here. And to be honest, me going to Albany, that was really the first time I felt her presence not there. I mean, obviously, I know my mom has passed away. I know she's gone, but it was ever present when I went to Albany because I didn't do the stuff that I was normally used to doing, which would have been at some point going to go see her, putting money in her hands, and just having a chit chat and laugh and all that other stuff like I normally do. And I got a chance to have a simple conversation. I told my mom I don't even know what our relationship is going to be like. I prayed for us to be able to have peace of mind, and I told my mom that I don't think I'm ready. But my therapist asked me, what do I think my mom would want me to do? At first I said she would say follow your heart, which wasn't true. That wasn't being truthful. So my mom would want us to reconcile it, and at some point I will probably have a discussion where I will visit what that means. But at this point I think that I just want to continue to choose peace. And, I think we need a little bit more distance. And now we know that that is kind of out there, and that gives us the opportunity to kind of heal on our own. So when we do have that conversation, it's not as, emotional as it probably would have been if we had forced the conversation. So, but it was good. All in all, good weekend. I'm off until Wednesday. I'm very excited about it. Had a couple signings. I told y'all last episode. Have a couple signings coming up, and that is going really well. So I'm very excited about that. And I just wanted to finish up part 2, y'all. I really did, so y'all can have the full, story. But the story is continuing to be written, so it ain't over yet. And I really missed you guys for the 2 weeks I didn't have. And I didn't, do a podcast, but, all in all, things have been going well, and it's going to continue to go well. All right. So with that being said, guys, I appreciate and absolutely love each and every one of you. Thank you so much for listening. You can go out and support us at Reggie's Expressions. Go like, share, subscribe. You can also find us on YouTube, Reggie's Expressions as well. And that's spelled REGGEE''S Expressions on Facebook and YouTube. And then Instagram, it is REGGEE S_expressions. All right. And yeah, thank you guys so much. And I will catch y'all on the flip side. I have extended this season to 20 episodes. So this, this is episode 16, and episode 20 is going to be the finale where I'm actually going to do a live, like the podcast is going to be live. So mark your calendars. That is 4 weeks from now, because I'm going to be regularly uploading episodes every week, until the 20th episode. And then we're going to take a nice little break. So that's going to take us until about June of 2022. And then I'm going to take a nice little break to just live life a little bit, and we'll come back around August. But we got time before that happens, so don't even worry about that, all right? So enjoy the rest of your day, guys. Love you. Thank you so much. And until next time, peace. Have a good night, guys.